Hello, everyone. Welcome to the webinar today. Earn your full commission with MAPS coaches Jim Reitzel and Kevin Reitzel. This webinar is being recorded, and you will receive the recording today. Feel free to share that link with anyone in your market center that you might think would find this topic of interest. If you have any questions, please type those into the questions box located in your webinar taskbar. Following the webinar, you can email us at fasttrack@kw.com. That's FASTTRACK@kw.com. And that's all for me. So Kevin and Jim, take it away.
Thank you so much. And thank you everybody as well for being on the call today for Earn the Commission You Deserve. This is part of our full MAPS group coaching program. The Get Your Full Commission is the MAPS group coaching program. And we call it Make More Money for the seller, the cooperating broker, and you. And we'll come back to that a lot. So I'm Kevin Reitzel talking right now, and Jim Reitzel's on the phone as well. You can say hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
There we go. So Jim's, as you see there, has been an agent for about 25 years. I've been an agent for about 20 years. But really the most important thing that you should care about there today is that we've really spent the last 20 years consistently getting 25 to 50% more commission per deal than other agents in our area. So our proven systems together with the MAPS models and systems we're excited to be part of this group coaching program that helps you focus on making more money for the seller, the cooperating agent, and you. And then
Kevin,
before we start,
I'm not going to be talking as much today because we've got a fair number of questions already floating in. So I'm going to help manage some of the questions, Kevin. But I did want to say that, Diana Kokoska and John Davis and Gary Keller have put a lot of trust in us and realized that this is not just two guys having done something. It's dozens and dozens of other people using our exact system, our exact words, and having a high degree, 90 percentile success rate. So we want you to trust us. Trust Diana, trust Kevin, and trust Jim.
Thank you. And just before we start, that we all know there are no set or standard commissions in the real estate industry. Commissions are negotiable. You can charge whatever you want and come from curiosity. So all suggestions here are valid. We like this to be an open discussion and not just a presentation. So if you have any questions out of the little pull out there on Go to Webinar, there's a questions box and you can type in questions there and type in answers because we'll be talking about them. But come from curiosity. So keep your mindset open. You can say, that won't work here, that doesn't work, I couldn't do that. That's the drunk monkey kind of stuff. So come from curiosity here. And some misunderstandings around, well, I guess people, but commission, is that people want to pay less. And we assume that people want to pay less. Well, it really is a myth. And to prove it, just drive down the street. When you go home tonight, look at all the cars on your street. Are they the cheapest cars? Probably not. So do they want to pay less? Number two, if you pay less, you'll save money. Well, I think all of us would probably have an experience where we paid less and it ended up costing us more in the long run. And number three, people won't use me if they can find someone cheaper. Well, the truth is people want to deal with who they know and trust, period. And even the National Association of Realtors says 76% of sellers interview only one agent. Keep that in mind. We'll talk about that more. And the bold law at the bottom there, change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change. And it's a great bold law for this program because we will be changing the way you look at things. Now, this will be an answer one. So Jim will be gathering all the answers. But knowing that the average realtor makes that per year, $18,000 to $24,000 a year, how much money did you want to make when you got into real estate? Give me some numbers. I just want some numbers from you of what you thought, hey, I'm going to get into real estate. I want to make this.
Okay, I've got them pouring in right now, Kevin. I've got $40,000. I've got a minimum amount. I've got several at $100,000, several at $80,000, several at 70, another one at 150, another one at 150, another one at 150.
Cool.
Here's one I really like, Kevin, 500,000.
Nice. So now, are you charging what the average realtor charges? Because what gives? So you wanted to make that kind of money. We know what the average realtor makes. So now what gives? Why are we charging what the average realtor charges? Now, for the sake of this course, there's a couple things I'll talk about here first before I get some answers from you here, but I'll be asking for answers here as well. One is we only talk about full commission numbers in this class. So for the sake of this class, I can normally see that cooperating broker is paying out 2 or 3 or 4%. For the sake of this, we're going to assume that's double. So if they're paying out 2, we're going to assume it's a 4% listing. And 6% for the sake of this class is a really high commission. And the reason I'm explaining this is some parts of North America, 8% will be a standard commission. Some parts, 4% will be a standard commission. So what we had to do was take a look at, well, what's normal throughout the country and what's a baseline. So for us, our baseline for this class is 6% is a really high commission. 6% would be, let's say, 50% more than the average commission. So looking at why are some agents, why do you think some agents are taking listings at 6%? And again, if your market is 8, that might be 10%. Why are they doing it? Give me some answers.
Okay, they're pouring in right now. Better staging quality is one, Kevin. Desperate is another. That's what it's always been. I like that one. That's what it's always been. Provide additional services, higher results, value proposition, better marketing. The agent values the service they provide, and the client will too as a result. They asked for it. Wow. Just there's lots more.
Awesome. Now, why are some agents taking listings at 5?
We've got some pretty fast typists out there. Scared to be competitive. The banks sometimes make you. They don't know their worth. 6% is the most has ever been charged in their area. They don't show enough value. That one came up again. Absence of value. They do not know how to come over the seller's objections. They don't know what they're worth.
Awesome.
No strong negotiation.
Why are some agents taking listings at 4?
Just let me clear these out for a second if you can, Kevin. So the question is, why are some at 4? Well, these are a little bit blunter. they're just plain kind of dumb, scared, don't know their worth, they're desperate, coming from scarcity, scared they'll lose the listing. It's a cultural norm of not paying full price for a service. That's, wow. They're a new agent. They feel they have to reduce their fee to get the listing. Model based on volume. Take the listing versus not having the listing. Someone else offering 4. Wow, this is great. They're short exchanging themselves because they don't know their value. So let me clear these out again, Kevin, first.
Yep. So now, why are some agents taking listings at 6%?
What was the number now?
3%.
It's a little bit slower coming in. There's a little bit more humor on these ones. One is they're only listening to find buyers. No clue. Desperation. Trying to undercut other agents. Now remember, this 3% in some boards, if you're at 8, this could be a 5%, correct? People remember that. Oh, a high-end property.
Oh, high-end property, that's good. So why not 2%?
There's a nope. Waste of time. Your business won't survive. I want food with my meals. That's just crazy. One is they have a standard of paying the co-op at least 2%. Absolutely. This one, Kevin, very few responses.
Cool. I like it.
Trying to get their name out there.
So my point of this exercise is we've all drawn a line in the sand. And I actually noticed, because it got quiet with our answers, but we've drawn a line in the sand. We've done it. There's a place that you won't go. Mentally, you've already set your bottom line. You just probably didn't think about it. So this is our chance to think about it. So really, all we need to do to be able to charge more is erase our line and redraw it. That's it. That's the only thing you need to do is erase your line and redraw it. So for some reason, whatever the number was, the number could have been 4, could have been 3, could have been 2. You're going, why is he even talking about these numbers? You know, we shouldn't even be talking about that. It's whatever place you went to, your stomach turned and you went, oh, well, that's your bottom line. That's where now you're a cat backed in a corner and you'll fight. So we just need to change where you hit that, where you hit the bottom line. Because if we move up your bar, if we raise the bar, now whenever it hits your new line, you're going to fight and you'll figure it out. So I can give you the tools to do this, but if you don't want to do it, it doesn't matter. So this is about changing your mindset. You have a line drawn in the sand. You maybe don't know why you drew it. So now just erase it and redraw the line. And through that exercise, it's probably the most time that most of us has spent thinking about commission. So the 5 minutes that we've spent going through that exercise is probably the most time we've thought about commission. And it's important.
Kevin, can I just ask in there for a second?
Absolutely.
In 25 years until we started talking about this, I had never had a commission discussion with anyone at my brokerage or another agent that I knew. The topic never came up unless we were complaining about it. That was it.
No, everybody would see that we're getting 50% more commission and nobody asked us about it. So this is our opportunity. The only person we can listen to is the one talking. So we wanted to be talking. So the why behind it is very important, and it's important to us because it keeps me on track. So why I decided to increase my commission was the seller, so the benefits to the seller, the benefits to the cooperating broker, and the benefits to me. I'd have a great business. So it used to be a lot that I would talk to people or try to coach people on how to get more commission, and they would say, oh, that's just the Reitzel magic. And I used to try to just to argue that, and now I say, you know what, you're right. It's the Reitzel magic. because I'm just walking by them in the hallway. But it really isn't. It's just something we've focused on and we talk about. It matters. So it matters to us. But these are the reasons. So now when I go back to it and I'm fighting for a higher commission, these are my reasons. It benefits the seller, it benefits the cooperating agent, and it benefits me. So now if you were a seller, put yourself in a seller's shoes, why would you want to pay more for a realtor? This is where you can type your answers again. Why would you want to pay more?
Get the property sold quicker, get more money for the sale. It's more professional, highest and best, quicker results, better service, lots of better service, proven results. The seller will net more. Services offered, better quality agent. Marketing should be higher quality.
Wow.
Proven results.
Marketing.
No headache.
So less stress.
Working with someone you can trust.
So now if you were a seller, why would you want to pay less?
Just give me a second to write quite a few here. Okay, why would a seller want to pay less? Oh, to meet their bottom line. That's a great one. These are all great. They think they will net more money in their pocket. Tough financial situation, yeah. Advertising, wow, influenced by advertising.
What it kind of works out to is to save money. Pretty much.
To the table with money, yep.
So to save money. And this could actually be, this could be 2 slides on my listing presentation. Here's why you would want to pay more. Here are the reasons. Here's why you'd want to pay less. The perception of saving money. That could be cool. It's not in my listing presentation, but could be.
Could be.
What do you get when you pay less? Actually, I'm not even going to ask people to answer this because it always comes back this. Less. That's a script too. What do you get when you pay less? You could ask your seller that because it's going to be the same answer every time. Now, what more could you do for your seller if you had more money to spend on them?
Staging, advertising, staging, concierge service, more service, better service. Well, yeah, hire a top photographer, attract more buyer agents, painting, fixing up, marketing, staging, aerial video, 3D tours, assistance with getting the home ready, decluttering. These are great ones. Drone
aerial photos.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
Yep.
Now, could those things net your seller more money? I think I won't wait for an answer on that one either. Yeah, they could.
We already did get a few answers, and they're pretty quick on the keyboard here. It said yes, it could net your seller more money.
6% is 50% more money to you, but it's only 1 or 2 to the seller. Come on, it's only 1%. And I like this. It's big to us. I actually had a seller the other day said, well, come on, Kevin, you got to give us something. How about 1%? And I had to stop it. And I do. I go, whoa. That's not 1%. I said, you just said 1%. And he goes, yeah, I said 1%. I said, that's actually 18%. So you're asking me to cut my pay by 18%. That's big. So I flip it around very often. However, it's really only 1% to the seller, right? Because it still is. I can't say that's 18% to the seller because it's 1% of the value of their house. It's $4,000 or it's $8,000 or it's 12 grand. But it's only 1 or 2, so come on, let's try it. But it's big to you. These numbers work out very big. And do you think paying the co-op agent more could make them work harder for your listing, to sell your listing? And of course, yeah. Now, what I talk about with sellers is the sellers, they hire me to sell their house, but in reality, I'm not going to sell their house. And I tell them this. In reality, another realtor will. So I'm there to guide them through the process, market their home, negotiate, and keep them protected. But I'm most likely not going to sell their home. It's going to be another agent. So wouldn't we want to best motivate the people that are going to sell their home? I want to best motivate that cooperating broker. So of course, here's a yes on the cooperating broker. And could that net your seller more money? Having cooperating brokers more motivated to sell your listing? Well, yeah. And no one ever really takes the time to think about commissions. Now, of course, you have because you've signed up for this, but most of us just take the time to complain about commissions. And this is our time to do something about it. So you've taken a stand by coming to this introductory program, and I applaud that. I congratulate you for that, because not many people are, or we're just not thinking about it. And I think the reason we're not thinking about it is there's not a lot of it out there. And there's probably not a lot of it out there because for 40 years, commissions didn't change much, but they have. There's been a downslide recently. So this is our time to take a stand for it. And do you really believe that a seller can net more money with you as their realtor than selling the home yourself? Do you honestly believe it? Because I hope you do. So now let's just start living it. We're there to make them more money than if they sold it themselves. And the NAR stats are there. National Association of Realtors says that for sale by owners, net 15% less than when using a realtor. So my services are actually free. Anything I charge under 15%, my services are free to them. I'm there to make them more money. And they will make more money having me as their agent. And these have been the options to us in the real estate industry to make more money. It's been, if you want to make more money, make more calls, do more open houses, do more door knocking, and more marketing. And I really think the industry has betrayed us because there's awards for units and there's awards for volume, but there's no award for commission per deal. Almost all of our training is focused on doing more deals to make more money, but I look at it as it's only half the equation. I got to look at the other half of the equation now, and it's a big half. It's what I'm getting paid per deal, because if what I'm getting paid per deal is 20% more or 20% less, that changes a lot. So we just have a better option now to make more money. And do you want to list homes at 6%? And again, if your area, the high commission is 8%, then do you want to list homes at 8? If it's 10, it's 10. But just think about it. Do you actually want to charge 6? Because I can give you the tools, just like I could buy you all the tools to drywall your basement. But if you don't want to drywall your basement, then you won't. You'll just pay somebody else to do it. So you got to want to do it. And if you decide to do it, you'll figure out the rest. If you decide to list homes at 6%, now you'll figure out the rest. And we have some great tools and we can help you with that, but it also won't matter because you've decided, so now there's no other options. And if you don't want to list homes at 6%, do you want to help others? It's why I go back to the reason a lot. The reason for it is for the seller, the cooperating broker, and you. What I found is if we lose focus on why we do what we're doing, we can start charging less and end up hurting everybody. So we want to help others, and how we help them in this situation is by charging more, not less. And with that focus, this will work. Without it, it's just a dream or a hope. So I want to help others. I know how much a seller is hurting themselves when they want to list at a low commission. I know how much money they're leaving on the table. I know how that's hurting fellow realtors, and I know how it's hurting my business. So I want to help all of them. And that's why I do what I do. And are you the best agent for the job? Think about it. Are you the best agent for the job? Because I'll say you better be, because if not, you shouldn't be in real estate. It would actually be a disservice to your seller, and it's probably against your code of ethics. That if you knew another realtor was better, it would be your fiduciary duty to point your sellers at them. It really would be. So now, if you're the best agent for the job, what does the best charge? Come on, does the best anything charge the least? I don't know. Just think about it. So put yourself in this scenario. So the police come to your door right now, handcuff you and charge you with murder. Which lawyer do you call? Do you call the most expensive lawyer that you can afford? Or do you call the cheapest lawyer? Do you call the one with a discount? You would call the best that you can get. You're the best realtor. And the best anything doesn't charge the least. And I can say that to sellers, I'm the best. You're getting the best here. The best does not charge the least. And I can use the lawyer script on them. And I have found that most realtors haven't thought about commissions, like really thought about it. We all think about how we can like do more deals and we don't take the time to think about commissions. And it's a funny thing because it should matter the most to us. This should be the biggest thing to us is our commission, but we don't think about it. Now you're taking this program again, so obviously you've thought about it, but we really want to think. And this is our time. This is probably an hour you're taking out of even the last 10 years to think about commissions, and that's awesome. And this is a cool thing that happens is, what if I fail? If I fail, what I love about this, and just as an example, our area right now where we are it's slid from like 5%-ish to 4 to 3. So that's kind of where we're sitting right now, is the 4-3 kind of thing. But if I fail and I don't get 6%, something really cool happens. So if I don't get 6, what I'm fighting for is 5. And I love it because the 4s and the 3s don't even come up now when I'm at 6 because it's too far away. So if I'm fighting for 5. And if I fail miserably at that listing and get 5, well, now I've made 25% more than most realtors in my area. So it's still an applaud. I love it. I love when I fail because I'm still getting more than everybody else just for trying to get 6. So JPAP is in. This was last year's family reunion, and you can watch it online. It's towards the end of the presentation. They talk about commissions, Gary and Jay. So if you show up prepared to talk about commissions, you are going to earn the highest commissions. Gary and Jay had done a year-long research on commissions a few years ago, and then they update it. They're always talking to us about it. And this was them talking. So when they say something like this isn't just a line. This is a line backed up by some research. So here's a slide about from the National Association of Realtors. This is from the Vision speech. So you could actually download this on kw.com. But what sellers want most from their agent? So if we look at it here, help sellers market the home to potential buyers, help sell it within a time frame, help price the home, help find a buyer, and help sellers find ways to fix up the home. That's probably, well, that's 90% right there, 91% is the top 5. But what's not on the list? What's not there? What's missing? I was just going to give you a second to look, but commission. It's not there. This is a National Association of Realtors asking people, calling them and asking them. This isn't Keller Williams. This isn't Kevin Reitzel. This is asking them, what do you want most from your agent? Commission's not even on the list. What does that tell me? It tells me they don't care about it. They're telling me right here they don't care about it. So I can acknowledge that they don't care about commission because they're telling me they don't care about it right here. And how about I just do the top 3 things and become really good at those? How about I do the top 5 things and I become really good at those? Because that's all I need. They're asking me. They're telling me what they want. So am I going to give them what they want? Now, where it comes from, because I'm not going to avoid that they don't care about it, is the why do we think they care about it is the other question. So we now know they don't care about commission. Why do we think they care about commission? The reason we think they care about commission is because they ask. On the phone, they'll say, hey, what's your commission rate? Hey, Janice, hey, Joe, what's your commission rate? So they ask, therefore we think they care about it because they're asking. Makes sense. Where I think this came from a lot was the mortgage industry, when they would put out signs on the boulevards stating the mortgage rate, lowest mortgage rate, mortgage rate. It became all about mortgage rate. And they did it to themselves, the mortgage industry. And we've done it to ourselves because the reason they're asking the question isn't because they care about it. It's because it's the only question they know to ask. We haven't taught them another question. We taught consumers, so as realtors, we taught consumers to ask about commission. Now we have to live with that. So be it. So I know they don't care about it, but they're asking about it. So now all I have to do is answer their question, and we'll talk about that. But it's just get this into your mind, because a lot of you probably aren't coming from curiosity right now. You're going, well, they do care about it. That's all they ask me about, and they're blah, blah, blah. The stats aren't backing you up. This is showing they don't care about it. And then I love this. Number of agents a seller contacted before deciding who to list with. 72% was one agent. 3/4 of people interviewed one agent before listing their home. So what does that mean to me? It means if I'm at their table, I got the listing. They're mine. Only I can mess it up now. I've already got the listing by being at the table. It's why lead generation is so important and lead follow-up is to get to the table. Because once you get to the table, you're done. You actually don't have to do anything. You could just put the papers in front of them and they would sign it. That's what this is telling us. They're only interviewing one. Now, if we go up to 90% almost, we'll be one or maybe two. So I have to compete against one other agent to get it. Well, that's pretty good odds. So now it's me that's going to lose the listing. Because if I'm sitting at their table, they want me. They're not caring about commission. For whatever reason, whether I was door knocking or I've built a relationship, they want me. And this is proving it. 3/4 of the time. 3/4 of the time, if you're sitting at the table, you got the listing. That's pretty good to know. Because if whatever your listing rate is, if it's only 50% of the time that you get the listing, well, there's an issue there. And the issue is easily solvable because it's you. Because you should be batting 72% just by default. That's why numbers are important, but it's fun. So I love that. 3/4 of the time. So 3/4 of the time I got the listing. And here we know they don't care about commission. So they don't care about commission. And 3/4 of the times I got the listing. Huh. What to say when somebody asks what you charge. So this is what we say. So on the phone, they're asking, what's your commission rate? I say it's flexible, and actually you get to choose. We talk about that more when we sign the papers. And that's it. That's it. That's all I ever say. So whether I'm on the phone with them whether I'm at their front door, whether I'm inside their front door, if I'm doing my listing presentation and they stop me and ask, this is what I say. Well, it's flexible, and actually you get to choose. We talk about that more when we sign the papers. That's it. So they're asking the question about commission because it's the only question we taught them to ask. So all we need to do is give them an answer, because they actually don't care what the answer is. We've gone over that. So we just need to give them an answer. Now, this is an answer. Now, wouldn't there be a better question for them to ask other than commission? Like maybe, do you know how to sell a home? Like, that would be a much better question to ask rather than what's your commission rate? Because what does it matter what the commission rate is if they don't know how to sell a home? Problem is, I can't retrain the public. I don't have enough money to tell them the questions to ask to find an agent. So I just have to deal with what I have. It's flexible, and actually you get to choose. We talk about that more when we sign the papers, because any number I say, I'm toast on the phone. It doesn't matter what, if I say 1%, if I say 6%, I'm toast. Because it's like the mortgage thing, you know, if you're calling around, what's your mortgage rate? You say it, it's click. You start talking about commission or getting into a commission discussion over the phone or over email, you're done. You're toast. Because I can't communicate everything that I need to. So it's flexible, and actually you get to choose. We talk about that more when we sign the papers. And then I move on. You'll never get a number out of me.
Kevin, I just want to emphasize how powerful that is.
Yep.
It's dealt with confidently. We're taking care of that. And the other one we can always add, we've never had to add, we're ready to add it, is it's my policy. We discussed that at the kitchen table. We've never had to use that one. It's a great one also.
No.
That whole flexible, we do it when we sign the papers. That's all they want to know. When is it going to be taken care of? It's so powerful.
Yeah. And policy is such a powerful word because you can't fight policy. If it's Walmart's policy that you have to put your bag behind the counter, that's their policy. I can't fight it. There's nothing I can do against it. So I love the term policy in that script. It's a company policy, whatever you need to say, but we've never had to say it. See, we come up, the drunk monkey comes up, the drunk monkey sitting on our shoulder comes up with a lot of things that we think people will say to us, and that stuff doesn't happen. Have you ever been door knocking and got a door slammed in your face? I actually never have. I've never had a door slammed in my face, and I've never had somebody angry with me. But of course, every time I go out door knocking, I think that's going to happen. And it never has. Same with phone calls. I've made thousands of phone calls, probably had 2 or 3 angry with me. But that's okay. I've had more people angry with me in person. So the why we do it again is why it's up here, is it's that important. Why we're doing it. And if you say, well, I don't care about the cooperating agent, forget about them. Well, then I'll say pick 2 of the 3. Pick 2 out of the 3. So do it for the seller and yourself, or do it for the seller and the cooperating agent if you don't want to. Do it for them. And here's our commission table talk. We go over this a lot more. Yeah,
Kevin,
go ahead.
For a second, we had a question. What if the seller insists to give you a number on commission? What's the answer? You know what's interesting? They never have. That's actually a realtor's mindset, not a seller's mindset. Having done this hundreds of times, what's today's date, Kevin? It's March 14th, 2018 at about 4:38 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe that'll help some of the people that are on the call right now that they know that this is live. But I'm just, it's never happened. They don't answer that. They just want to know, are they dealing with a professional, and you have a system to take care of it. One thing you could say, it could be, let's say average commissions are 4, 5, or 6. You know, it's anywhere between 1 and 6. We discussed that when we signed the papers. And then you have a plan for that.
Anywhere or if they're looking for if they're looking for budgetary reasons, so I'm just looking for something to put in my spreadsheet, I say, well, you know, with commission and closing costs and lawyer fees and stuff, let's figure 10%. It won't be, that's not what real estate commission is, but put that in your spreadsheet.
Yep. Good one.
So this is our commission table talk, and I'm just going to go through it. So this is the very end of the listing. So we're signing the listing. We've already maybe gotten a home stager out or gotten pictures done, and now we're ready to sign the listing and get the place on the market. And this is the very last thing before we sign that piece of paper. So I've gone through everything else. And now I go through the commission table talk, because this is us talking about commission. So I start off by, hi, I'm here as your consultant. So I have to tell you that 95% of homes are listed below 6%. And it's actually the first reason we recommend it, listing your home at 6%, because it gives you a big leg up over the other listings out there. The average realtor out there sells 8 homes a year. So they're literally starving to death. Now, let's say you were looking for a job. All things being equal, you'd have the same job, be working at the same building with the same people. One job's paying 40 grand a year, another's 50 grand a year, and another's 60 grand a year. Which job would you choose? Right, the 60 grand a year. Well, what I found is that realtors are no different than you. Good or bad, right or wrong, we found that realtors will work harder to sell your home because they're getting paid a little more. In fact, we've had many realtors tell us they look for our listings every day just because of this. So now, here I put up my hand open with my thumb pointing into the air. And let's say there's 5 homes listed for sale. One of them's at 6%, and I grab my thumb, it's pointing in the air. Some of them are at 5 and some at 4. Which one do you think is going to get on every realtor's list? And I grab my thumb. And I go, you're right, this one. We want to be on everybody's list. Probably a couple of the others too, but we want to be on everybody's list. And when does a buyer decide to buy? You know, I used to think it was curb appeal or kitchen, and really it's the 30-minute rule. It's what's their agent saying 30 minutes after seeing the home. So that agent could be driving down the road in a kind of upbeat manner, go, you know, it's near the ski hills. Look at this view. This is amazing. Or they could go, oh, it's near the ski hill. Could you imagine looking at those lights all night? How about we go see this one over here that I'm getting paid a little more on? Of course, they don't say the last little bit. So all things being equal, we're not promoting a waste dump site. We don't have areas like that. And let's just say we get an accepted offer on your home, conditional on financing and inspection. On the last day the conditions are due, because it's always the last day, the agent calls me and tells me the buyers want to lower the price by $6 grand. When the agent's done, I just state that I can't speak for the seller, but bring me an amendment. And I remind the agent they could lose the house by opening up negotiations. And I say, take a look at your paycheck. And I hang up the phone. Most of the time, 2 hours later, I get a waiver through, removing conditions, and there's no price adjustment. Now, several things probably went through that agent's mind. One is they realized the items weren't that important, and every home has things to fix. And the agent realized they might have to show homes for another month or two and possibly get half the paycheck. So all of this really helps us get the most for your home and keep the deal together. Does that make sense to you? Good, let's move on. The hardest part is what I did at the end. The hardest part is to stop talking. One of the rules of negotiation is the first person to talk loses. So say what you have to say and stop talking. We love talking as realtors. We need to let the silence do the heavy lifting. So all I say at the end here is, does that make sense to you? And they say, yeah. I go, good, let's move on. And that's it. But the hardest part is to say, does that make sense to you? And wait. And what I do, I actually play a game with myself. I bite my tongue and I count. And I see how high I can get the number. Because it's uncomfortable, but now if I'm playing a game with myself, I'm not showing how uncomfortable I am. Because I'm playing a game, seeing where I can get the number to. And it's fun. And then they'll talk. So I could say at the end of this, I could say, this really helps us all get the most for your home and keep the deal together. Does that make sense to you? Like how most listings aren't 6%, but we would like this one to be, so it's at the top of, like, you're done. You're toast. Because what you did by talking is you've opened up negotiations. You've done that by talking. We don't want to open up negotiations here. It's actually the reason at the beginning I said we talk about full commission. So I talk about 6%. I don't talk about 3 and 3. And the reason is now I only have to negotiate one number. I don't have to negotiate 2 numbers. And I don't have to talk about the split. I never have had to talk about it. I just talk about the whole number and move on. The hardest part, stop talking, and 90% of the time, it ends there. Does that make sense to you? Yeah, good. Let's move on. And then maybe 10% of the time, the seller has a question about commission. The key to negotiations is the person with the most options wins. So we just need some options. So I have 6% question and answers. Now I'm going to go back for a second here. 6% question and answers, also known as objection handlers. I actually don't like the term objection handler, even though it fits, and I don't like the term script. That's why it was called the commission table talk, not the commission script. The reason why I don't like the term script is all of us hate the term script, but we use scripts all the time. Even those people that say they hate scripts, they're using scripts all the time. They just don't know it. So the 6% question and answers, to me, an objection is a question, and it's how I view it in my mind. So when somebody has an objection and says, hey, maybe I don't want to pay that, well, to me, that's not an objection. An objection, I always view in court, like, I object. An objection to me would be, Kevin, get out of my house. That's an objection. They object to me. They want me out of their house. I've never had that happen. So I've never had an objection. An objection to me was they have you listing their house and not me. Well, they objected to Kevin. They didn't call me. That's an objection. So if I'm sitting at their table, it's not an objection, it's a question. I'm at their table. They want me. They just have a question. If it was an objection, they would just say, thanks for your time. You can leave now. That's an objection. So it's not an objection. Get that out of your head. If you're still sitting there with them, it's just a question. So let's answer their question. So I'm going to go through a few of the question and answers here, or scripts. The seller says, that's a lot of money. As an agent, I say, yeah, it's a lot of money. Because what else can I say? It's a lot of money, so let's just acknowledge what it is. And it also doesn't matter what the percentage is. It's still a lot of money. So let's say we're selling a home at $600,000 at 6% commission. That's 36 grand. And you know what? It's a lot of money. Well, what is that listing at 4% commission? That's what, 24 grand. And you know what? That's a lot of money. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a lot of money. So let's just acknowledge it and stop talking. And that's all I say is, yeah, it's a lot of money. We have a lot more of these scripts in our full commission class, but I love talking about them. And sometimes I'll even calculate it for them. I'll say, yeah, it's a lot of money. It's 36 grand. And they'll go, yeah, it's a lot of money. I go, yeah. Because let's just acknowledge it and move on. Seller says, I don't want to pay 6%. I go, okay, how about 5.99? How about 5.98? Actually got to 5.95 once before somebody just said, okay, fine, let's just get this over with. There's another point to this is, where do our minds go? If a seller says, I don't want to pay 6, where do we go? I'm holding up my hand right now, but nobody can see me. It's 5. See, we're guilty of that. We think it's 1%, not that it's 18%. We think it's 1%. So we go to 5. You don't have to go to 5. And if you're not comfortable doing the 5.99, that's okay. How about 5.75? Or how about give them a number? How about say, I will reduce my commission by 5% for you. And then calculate that number out. What's 5% of your commission? Or I'll reduce my commission by 10%. So now we're 0.6 off. So now we're listing at 5.4. That's pretty cool. Again, it's how you look at things. So you don't have to drop by so much on the first shot. And it's the person with the most options. I just need more options. I have somebody that'll do it for X. Right off the bat, I say, that agent can't even negotiate their own commission. And it's the thing that should mean the most to them. Your home is probably one of the largest investments you have. Do you want a bad negotiator handling that transaction? And I wait for the answer. So anytime I ask a question, I wait for the answer. Because a lot of times here, they'll say, no, I don't. Good, let's move on. Because it really is, it's kind of an acid test, right? And I actually do this when I'm doing offers on homes. I'll see what the cooperating broker or what the listing broker is paying out. Because what does it tell me? I know how well they can negotiate. It can be a quick acid test for somebody. My other quick one to this now is, I have somebody to list it for 3%. I say, yeah, I know. And that's it. Yeah, I know. Because if they wanted the person doing it at 4% or 3% or 1%, you know what? That person would be there. They don't want that person. They want you. So we just have to answer the question. I have somebody to do it for 3%. Yeah, I know. Does all the heavy lifting. Here's a quick one towards the end about buyers. So I had, as commissions kind of slid in our area or started to, as a buyer's agent, working with buyers at the time, I was frustrated and insulted. I go through a lot of training. I do a lot of training every year. I go to a lot of classes. I'm always learning and I'm teaching others. I love teaching others. I'm expanding my real estate mind all the time. And my fellow realtors thought I deserved a 25% pay cut. And I kind of took that to heart. And I went, oh man, this is a bummer, but let's figure it out. So what can I do as a buyer's agent? And what's something I could do today? So for example, as commission slid from, let's say 5 to 4, I then came up with this email. So the reason it's an email is in our area, we cannot negotiate commissions at the time of an offer. It's not allowed to negotiate a commission with an offer. So I had to figure out a way to do it outside of an offer, so before an offer. So this is a script I send to every home I show that's below whatever commission rate I choose. So anything in our area that's below 5%, which is almost all the places, I send out this email. Is, hi, I've noticed that your seller on 123 Main Street is paying 2% commission. Would they be willing to pay 2.5 if we got an accepted offer? Now, there's actually a whole bunch going on here. So I do it in an email on purpose so that when I get their reply and they say yes or okay or for the right price or bring me an offer, I now have it in writing that I've negotiated commission before. But I'm saying I've noticed your seller on 123 Main Street, not, hey, Paul, why are you only paying me 2? I'm not blaming the agent. I'm blaming the seller. And would they be willing to pay 2.5 if we got an accepted offer? So, of course, if we got an accepted offer, there's kind of a give and take there. There's a bonus. So they're not agreeing to pay me 2.5 right now with nothing in hand. So there was, let me click here. A couple reasons I did this. So one was to get a pay raise, so to get my pay back to where it should have been. And the real reason I did it was to change the world. I wanted to change the world by sending out an email. And the only way to change the world, directly from Michael Jackson, is to change yourself. So by changing myself and sending out this email, my hope was I could give all the listing agents out there ammunition for their next listing presentation, so that hopefully they can get a higher commission. So if the listing agent, if I have enough people in my office sending out these emails, they might go to their next seller and say, hey, my last listing, I got 5 emails. Maybe we should try this commission. So I can't get everybody into this group coaching program, but I can try to affect it otherwise. And it was also, there might be a third reason here. The third one would be that I can do it quickly and today. So I could do this right now and make more money. This wasn't a system that I had to implement. And even with that commission table talk, I didn't talk about this, but it's just that. It's a talk. There's no laser light show. There's no animation. There's no PowerPoint. I'm writing it on a piece of paper. So it's something you can do today to get more money, and so is this. Because of course I can go back to buyer representation and see if I can have the buyers pay and stuff like that, and that's great. That can be a part of your business, but this is something you could do today and make thousands of dollars via an email before you show a listing and help change the world, because that's what I really want to do. From Gary himself, if you've never discounted your commission, you don't have a big enough business. The point of this is, don't feel bad if you've discounted your commission. We all have and will again in the future. I have discounted my commission. I will discount my commission in the future. The purpose of today is to give you some tools to help you out in the future, but it will happen. We just don't want to make it a standard practice. Now, a lot of times when I'm discounting commission, nobody knows about it because I'll pay for a washing machine to get repaired or something like that in the background, to where I'm making the deal go by smoothly because I can afford to. I can help everybody out. And who else is talking about it? I've mentioned that a couple times. It seems very risky to talk about commission. Realtors are afraid of having this conversation. And probably us talking about it is risky. So what I want to do here is thank Keller Williams. Thank Diana Kokoska and MAPS Coaching, because they're allowing us to open the conversation and talk about commissions. So I hope you got something out of today, changed your mindset a little bit. Our full group coaching program on this same topic is called Get Your Full Commission. It starts March 21st. There's the link, and you'll probably get an email to it as well. But it's a 4-week course, so it's 1 hour every week, just for 4 weeks. Us talking about mindset, talking about scripts, going over a lot more scripts than are in there, and talking about what to do in the future. So I thank everybody for coming out today. I know our time is almost up. Did you have anything else you wanted to say, Jim, since I took over the mic most of the time?
No, we've had some really appreciative people saying their thank yous and that they're going to be implementing some of the things they've learned already today. And we're so grateful for that. Thank you. It's our pleasure to serve.
Thank you. We love doing this, and I love talking about it. So thank you, everybody, and I hope to see you March 21st as well. Have a great day.
Thanks.